All right, so now we're going to look at making a box plot or a box and whisker plot. And the steps are a little bit different depending on whether you have an even number of numbers or an odd number of numbers. So in example 1, I'm looking at if we have an even number of numbers. So what you want to do is you want to split the data into 2 halves. So you count your numbers. You say you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 numbers. If I have 14 numbers, I'm going to have 7 and 7. So I'm going to make a box around 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 numbers are here and 7 numbers are here. And I'm going to find my median. My median is going to be the average of the 7th and the 8th numbers. So the median, or the second quartile, is going to be the average of 8 and 9, which is 8.5. Then I'm going to find the middle of the lower half and the middle of the upper half, and those represent the quartiles. So the middle of the lower half, if I have 7 numbers on each side, so if I split that into equal sections, I'll have 3 numbers on one side and 3 numbers on the other. And the middle number represents the first quartile, or the lower quartile. And then in the upper half, I'll do the same thing. I'll split that data into half and half. So I'll do 3 numbers on one side, 3 numbers on the other side, and the one in the middle, the 4th number, is the 3rd quartile. And now I can do my box and whisker plot. So the way I do that is I make a number line. I create a number line. Now I can't use a ruler on this thing, so you guys should definitely use a ruler. And you need to come up with a scale. Your numbers go from 2 to 17, so you might do a scale of like 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. And what I do is I put a dot on each of the important values. So I put a dot on the minimum value, a dot on the maximum value, and then a dot on each of the quartiles. So I'll put a dot over the 2, a dot over the 6, a dot over the 8.5, and line them all up. A dot over the 12, and a dot over the 17. And then the first to third quartiles create the box. So your box is going to go like this, and then the median gets the line. So the 6, I draw a line through that, and the 12, I draw a line through that. And again, use a ruler. I can't draw straight lines on this thing. And then you draw a line through the middle. That's the median. And then you draw whiskers out to the max and the min. So a whisker out to the maximum and a whisker out to the minimum. That's it. Okay, if you have an odd number of numbers, looking at example 2, if you have an odd number of numbers, then initially when you count out your numbers, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 numbers. So initially when you start out and you try to split it in half, you're going to have 1 in the middle already. So you'll have 5 on each side because 5 plus 5 is 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 5 and then these 5. And the middle one will be my median, or the second quartile. And then I'll go to the lower half and I'll take half of that. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's an odd number. So the middle one, the third one, will be the first quartile. And then same thing with the upper half. I take the middle of the upper half, the third one, that'll be the third quartile. And now I can draw my box and whisker plot. So I'm going to do a number line first. So straight line. I wish I could use a ruler. And then it goes from 20 to 37. So I might go like 20, I might go by 5s. Let me see if I could do 2, 4, 6, 8, 30. Maybe I'll go by 2s and just make my number line longer. I don't know if that's going to be too much. Let's see. 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38. Okay, so I'm going to put a dot over, let me switch colors. I'm going to put a dot over my minimum, 20, a dot over my maximum, 37, a dot over the third quartile, 31, a dot over the 25, the median, and a dot over the first quartile, 21. So I have my box is going to go from the first quartile to the third quartile with the median getting the line. So I'm going to go line, 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 and my box goes like this. And I'm going to have very short whisker there and a very long whisker there because the data is more spread out on the upper 25%, but the data is very close together on the lower 25%. Okay, and then we're going to take a look at the idea of quartiles, but finding them from a frequency table. So if you go down to the last section, finding quartiles from a frequency table, you're going to be given a set of data with a frequency. So here, 12 kids got a score from 91 to 100, 20 kids scored from 81 to 90, 8 kids scored from 71 to 80, etc., etc. Which interval contains the median? So what you need to do first is you need to figure out how many kids took this test. What's the total frequency? So if I add these up, I'm going to get 20, 30, 43. 43 kids took this test. That's the total frequency. So to find the median, I need to basically do what we just did. Is if I imagine 43 numbers lined up and I split them in half, how many would be on each side? Well, if I split 43 into 2 equal parts, I'd end up with 21 and 21, because 21 plus 21 is 42. And then the 43rd would be the middle. So I'd have 21 people on the left, 21 scores on the right, and the middle person, because you have an odd number of numbers, would be the median. So the first 21 people are here, so the 22nd person represents the median. So what you do is you add the frequencies going down the column until you find the 22nd person. So, erase. Sorry, I'm trying to erase here. Okay. So what I do is I start with the first frequency, 12, and then I add 20. 12 plus 20 gets me past 22. So the 22nd person is in this interval. The 22nd person got a score of 81 to 90. So the interval that contains the median is 81 to 90. Okay, I could have done it from the bottom also. I would have gotten the same result. If I went from the bottom and I added frequencies going up, 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 8 is 11. I'm looking for the 22nd person. 11 plus 20 gets me past 22, so the 22nd person is again somewhere in this interval. Okay, the next one says, which interval contains the first quartile? So, let me erase this. The first quartile is, if you think to what we just did with the box and whisker plot, the first quartile is when you take the scores, divide them in half, and then you're finding the middle of the first half. So if I know that there are 43 numbers, again, there's 21 on the left and 21 on the right. Now, if I were to take these 21 people and split them in half, then I would have 10 and 10 on each side, because 10 plus 10 is 20, and the 11th person from the bottom, from the lowest, would represent the first quartile. So I'm going to add these till I get to the 11th person. Now there's no need for me to add because the first 12 people are in the first interval. So the 11th person got a score of 91 to 100. So that interval contains the first quartile. And then which interval contains the upper quartile? Well, the upper quartile is the third quartile. So if again, there's 43 people. So there's 21 people here, 21 people here. I want the middle of the upper half. That's going to represent the third quartile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the highest values. I'm going to go in from the bottom, because the highest values, the